Hey everyone, my name's Andrew Hess. If you've been following me on LinkedIn recently, I've been pushing out cheat sheets for Power Automate. And today I wanted to create a short video on how to document a Power Automate correctly. There's three main things that I want to go over today. One, add a description. You can even use Copilot. Number two, use scopes with comments and notes. And number three, add error handling. I promise you, your future self will appreciate you. So let's get into it. Let's level up our flows today. We have a Power Automate flow right over here. So you see it, it works, it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. A citizen developer or someone who is not always coding and is just trying to get the job done would say, this is fine, this is perfect. But let's say I'm your manager, I'm a Power Platform architect, I'm even a CEO or a CIO, and I wanted to look over your work, or I wanted to see your Power Automate, or maybe you won the lottery and now I need to take over your Power Automate. Can you tell me within a few seconds what this actually does? And I don't mean a few minutes, I mean a few seconds. Can you tell me exactly what this does? I would say no. Now, the user did name each of their actions decently well. They said what each of these do, right? It's decently well, but we want to take this to the next level. We want to document this correctly. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to Copilot. And in Copilot, I'm going to give it some prompt engineering, something simple. Can you summarize this flow in paragraph form without using column names at a very high level to understand the entire process? And then kind of give it a description. What it really does is it creates a PDF from HTML with a table inside a table. So I kind of give Copilot, kind of give me a good summary of what my flow does. And now it has a great summary for me. I'm just gonna, for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna say, hey, I accept this summary. I like it. I'm gonna take it and copy it. And what do? I'm gonna go back. And then right here in my flow, what I need to do is I need to go to details. And in details, you have a description. Paste that in your description. I promise you, this is huge. You may think this is not much, but just documenting a description. Now, when I refresh, you can see I have a description for this flow. Now, as someone who's coming back to this flow, I now have a description. This is huge, 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 huge. I promise you, this will save you time. This will save your boss time. This will save your organization time. You now have a description of your flow and what it does. Very helpful. So that's the first thing that I would recommend doing. Next, let's come back into the flow. What can take this to the next level is using scope. And I'm going to argue that scope should be your most common action in every Power Automate you do. You should have scopes on every single Power Automate that you do if this is going to be a production Power Automate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a scope right here. I'm going to add a scope, and I'm going to add my get items in here. So get item, get items, and get file content. So these are three things that happen in my flow. I'm going to say, hey, what does this do? This is the scope. It grabs content to format, to create table. Because that's really what it does is each of these, it gets content, it gets items, it gets all my content, and now I can drag that up and I can make it a lot smaller. That's very helpful. So now that we have our first scope in there, the next thing that I'm going to recommend to do is on your scope, leave yourself a little note or leave your future self a note. So the note is for this scope. It's kind of like commenting your code. This grabs the first list item in in customer list, then filters and grabs the items per customer. And the last thing it does is it gets the file content for the image in site assets. So that's what this scope does, right? Put in a note on your scope. This is going to save you in the future. And actually, you can rerun Copilot to summarize your flow after you put in notes too. It's very useful. Now, initialized variables cannot go in a scope, right? When you initialize a variable, they cannot actually go in a scope. Just to prove that to you, if you have a scope and you try and drag and drop a initialized variable in here, and then you try and run it or save it, it's going to say, hey, no, you can't have a initialized variable in a scope. So anytime you initialize a variable, it needs to be on that top level. So you cannot have a scope. So that's fine. We have our initialized variables. We have our scope. Next one I'm going to recommend is put your entire flow in a MainBody scope. So not the initialized variables, but put your scopes inside one large MainBody scope. And this is so we can run error handling on it. And the reason you do this is when you have an error handling scope, which is what we will configure next, is if anything breaks inside the MainBody scope, it will then trigger your error handling scope. That's what's important. So you don't have to configure error handling on every action, just your entire flow. If anything breaks, it then runs your error handling process afterwards. So next, what I'm going to recommend is create another scope with error handling. And in this error handling scope, send yourself an email, send yourself a Teams message, and then terminate the flow. So in the error handling scope here, what you'll do is you go to settings, the run after, set it to has timed out, skipped, or failed. And then send yourself an email, but not just any email. In this email to yourself or your Teams message, notice the things that I've got here. So in the name, I'm using workflow tags flow display name. So this brings up the name of the flow in the email. And you could even add the time in there if you wanted to. I just put the date time in the body of the email. So right here, I just did format, date time, UTC now, and I converted it to month, month, day, day, year, year, year. And if you're in Europe, then you can change it around how you'd like, day, day, month, month, however you'd like to do it. Then finally, the main big thing is send yourself a link to the failed run of the flow. If you go back to your flows, to your runs, so make sure it's saved, go back to your flow runs and find one that, or failed or was successful. Check it out. And this URL up here, this is what's important. What we're doing is we're building out this URL with a concat statement. So we're finding our environment or our tenant actually. So if you're a GCC, this may be different. Maybe it's not make.power app. Then you grab your environment. Then we're grabbing the environment variable through FX formula. Then we're just writing flows. So remember that? So formula for environment. Then we're writing flows. Then the ID of the flow. Then runs. Then the ID of the run. So let's go back in there and check that out. We can see I'm concatenating the tenant environment. Then we're grabbing the environment name. Then we're writing flows. Then we're grabbing the flow name right here. That's the work.name. Then we're just writing runs, right? / run /. Then we're grabbing the ID of the run. And then the rest of this is just for a URL. So I'm passing the link of the flow. So the goal is now, when I have my flow fail, like I purposely make it fail. So in the create file, I changed it to a .123, which I don't think is a file type. That way it breaks. So now when I run it and it fails, it's going to send myself an email with a link to the flow. So we'll just do manual. We're expecting it to fail. Like that's the expectation. So right about here, it's going to fail. And you can see it failed here. So that's perfect. That's what we wanted. And in Outlook, we have our message here, you see flow, create table, inside table, failed. And then we have the date time. Well, I didn't add the time, but we have the date. And then this link, you see that link right there? That link takes us to the flow run that failed with the error. It's very important. Say you had a flow run 100 times a day. You don't want to scroll through and try and find the one failure. So now you have a link to that flow run that failed. Perfect for error handling. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want to add more to this, some things that you must have for governance of your flows, feel free to leave a comment. My name is Andrew Hess, and I'll see you next week.